Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Brother Sister Show, a family-owned and operated podcast where two siblings keep in touch by talking about movies. This week, on episode 107, we are talking about Licorice Pizza and Matrix Resurrections. Or is it the Matrix Resurrections?
I think it's The Matrix. I always, Jesus Christ. I almost always say Revolutions in my head.
I was about to say that. I had to really think about it. Did I say it right? I think I said it right.
Yeah. No, we get it.
What is it?
Oh, I don't know, but we all get it. I think it's just say The Matrix.
The Matrix.
Keep it in.
Keeping it in.
We're talking about it.
Okay, it is Resurrections. The Matrix Resurrections. Fantastic. But before we get into that, we normally catch up because we normally don't talk in between, but it is the holiday season, so we've been spending a lot of time together. So what do you want to talk about?
Well, I was looking at the talking points. You have something on there. Well, first it's, you put Matrix, but do you want to talk about that before we talk about, you have two Matrix stuff. I sent something about Michael Keaton being in Batgirl. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Well, I guess it's news. Well, it doesn't matter. Let's do that.
Yeah, because that's crazy. So the only thing we know about is the Flash, right? Where he's going to be in the Flash.
Do we know that?
I think so.
Okay.
Because I feel like we knew about that. Because I remember them talking about maybe doing a Batman Beyond reboot. Which would be insane.
And this is in the universe of like where the Flash is played by Ezra Miller?
I believe so.
That movie, they're still doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember seeing like, I don't know what it was, but it was like on the Notes app where someone was giving basically the rundown of how they're going to use that movie as a soft reboot for the universe.
Okay.
Kind of like...
Because everything else is really shitty?
Yeah, spoiler, but kind of like for Spider-Man No Way Home. How that's kind of a soft reboot for the character.
I guess that would make sense because it deals with time, right? Because he can like run back or something.
Yeah, which I don't know. But this is exciting because I really like Michael Keaton. I don't know anything about that movie, though.
Is it Batgirl's a movie? It's going to be a movie?
Oh, is it not?
I don't know.
Did you do no research?
No, I didn't do any research because I thought you would know. And I was like, oh, okay, well, let's just talk about it. That's my update in life. And we're doing this so backwards because we talk about like our lives, not about news. But that was like the only thing.
Yeah, I don't really know.
All right. Dang, he's in the MCU and?
Yeah, he's a good, I guess he plays both. He does it both, hero and villain.
Good for him. That's my personal news.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about the new Michael Keaton shit. Well, the other note you had was the Jeep's windshield. Do you want to talk about that?
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh. So I'll throw pictures in. So I drove down last Thursday for the holidays from College Station. And, yeah, I was like 20 minutes in. And then from the other side of the highway, I guess a rock got underneath a tire. And it just, like, yoinked itself into the Jeep's windshield. And it splattered like tiny shards of glass all over the like everyone. Thankfully I'm not like hurt or anything. Just like I just realized the mortality of the situation of like just driving because I was like about to get into that highway hypnosis stage, but it just like shook me straight out of it where I was like, yeah, I could die at any moment.
Jesus.
Super morbid, but like
just before the holidays.
Yeah, I was like what is happening? It was so crazy. But
that's fucking scary.
Yeah, I was so confused because I was trying to work out the physics in my brain. I was like, I don't know how that would happen because it was like, highway, like a grass patch, then the other side, like oncoming traffic.
That's interesting. And you know what? There was one time, I have a couple of cracks on my windshield from, usually I think when my parents own the car, like when our parents own the car, I don't remember it happening to me. But the one time, there's one like at the top-ish.
Yeah.
Kind of where you described what yours is. And I got it when I was going to College Station. Like I was on my way there when I think it was when one of my friends lived there and I was going for something, and it was from Austin to there, and like I was not even 20 minutes into the drive there, and a rock hit my windshield, and I was like, oh, this is a great omen for this trip.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, there was no cars in front of me too, so like that would make sense if it was
nothing in front of you,
or no cars in front of me. That's because like I mean it's a college town, so everyone was gone. And the traffic there was, like, super empty. There were cars on the other side, so that's why I'm thinking it was them. But it was crazy. I was just, like, because we had just some background. For those of you who don't know, the Jeep, like, I got rear-ended. And finally got it fixed. And I had, like, I think that was the day after I picked it up from the car shop. I drove back, and then it got hit.
And you had to get the entire thing replaced. When did you get it replaced? You got it replaced
the day of
here?
The day of, yeah. Here in San Antonio.
You drove with it with a hole in your windshield?
Yeah. So it wasn't like, I mean, it still protected me from, like, the wind. It shielded me from the wind. It was
there was a hole.
It wasn't like, I'll show the pictures. It was like a dent, and like it definitely broke the, like, I guess, inside of the panel. Mm-hmm. And that's why the glass shattered, but it wasn't like completely all the way through. Like there was still some glass.
Okay, I didn't know you drove the entire way. I thought you like turned around.
No, I was gonna pull over and like check it, but I was like, there's no point. Like it happened, and like I wasn't gonna stay. So I stopped like at Buc-ee's. I mean, just the normal, just to get gas, and obligatory Buc-ee's stop, and I checked, and it was good enough to get me to San Antonio.
Were you scared though?
Yeah, I was a little bit shaken up at first because I was like I said, I just
that was just like on a rampage to traumatize you. Holy shit. Yeah,
I got rear-ended, and I was listening to Prince at that moment when I got rear-ended.
It's gonna ruin everything for you too.
Yeah, can't listen to the podcast without being on edge. Prince. Yeah, I was a little bit shaken up just because I like I said, reminded of my mortality and that I'm at the mercy of just other people when I'm driving.
Yeah.
And you are just like in a metal cube driving like 70 miles an hour.
It is scary. That's why I have to like always make sure when I'm driving somewhere I have to take my medication.
Oh.
Because it's so easy for me to get distracted.
Yeah.
And like not and go like super easily into that like hypnosis like you were saying. But it's easier when I'm on my medication to be like, I guess the term I would use is like mindful of everything that's happening. I'm like, okay, I am turning right. I am merging. I am, like. Yeah, definitely. It feels a lot easier. So driving is scary. And another thing too is because people used to always give me shit for like I was, really late to getting my license and driving on my own.
Right.
And people used to always give me shit for it. And I was like, it's fucking terrifying. It is scary. I mean, it's fine now, but it can be scary when you're first learning how to do it.
For sure. It's just a lot of like coming to terms with that, because like when I got rear-ended, like the dude was on his phone and I was like I'm truly at the mercy of these people. Like I know, these honest, you have to trust these random ass people.
I can't even imagine.
With essentially your lives, but
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
The holidays were okay. I think they were good.
Yeah, they were fun. Solid. It's honestly, as I get older, it's more about like seeing your family, being with them.
Yeah.
Than anything. So it was really nice to see everyone, especially during the pandemic. Like very fortunate. Like I had not a COVID scare, but I was
pretty sick.
I was pretty sick, probably with the flu, early last week. But thankfully, it wasn't COVID and was able to come down.
That's good.
And like everyone else is fine. Like I know a lot of people were stuck at home without their families because of it. So shout out to you guys.
Get your booster.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, what have you watched? Do you want to talk about what you've watched?
Ooh, yeah. I didn't finish the 12 days of Christmas.
No.
No, I got really close. I think I had 2 more.
Dang, that's closer than my Spooktober.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. At this point, I'm kind of like, I don't know if I accept the defeat or if I'm like, if I finish. Yeah, we'll see. I did forget to log one. I think it was, 3 of them. I don't know. I did forget. I think I had 3 more, but I forgot to log Carol, which was probably, if I'm going to like rank all of them, I don't know if Carol was my favorite or like one of the older ones. Maybe Black Christmas. That one was really,
Yeah, you told me that one was really good.
Yeah, like surprisingly, the older ones that I watched were a lot better than I think I gave it credit for. Like, it was Black Christmas was good. It's a Wonderful Life, surprisingly good. Muppets Christmas Carol was also very good.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. I don't think I've ever seen any, like, Christmas Carol version.
Yeah, me either. Like, that's the Scrooge one, right? Or
Okay.
Okay.
Like, I'm really familiar with it.
Yeah.
I've never seen a movie with it. Like, I'm for sure not gonna watch the fucking Jim Carrey one. You know, like, but then the Muppets one, the Muppets had Michael Caine, and I think there's memes of it where people are like, he's doing like, you know, like Oscar level acting, and it's with like Kermit the Frog. It was pretty
is he
good.
really?
It's pretty good. I think, if you still are in the like Christmas spirit, I think it's a good watch. That one, I think Black Christmas is another. That one, if there's one that I would urge you to watch, it would be that one, because I think it has like, it starts off, and that's another thing. I think the reason I don't like old movies is because I don't give them credit for what they did.
Yeah.
Like, to me, I when I was gonna watch it, I was like, oh, the jokes are not gonna be funny, and It's a Wonderful Life. Like, the jokes were funny. It was weirdly like not as bland as I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
And for Black Christmas, it started off with, I think, like a POV shot, like of, you know, the killer, I guess, like it is walking through the house or like going to his hiding place.
Nice.
And I was like, I like paused it and I like made Sebastian watch it because I was like, what the? I've never seen this in an old movie before.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess that's the meaning of Christmas, or that's the lesson I learned is that old movies are not bad just because they're old. But yeah, the only ones I didn't watch.
That's a good lesson, because I feel like that opens you up to a lot.
I think so. To believe the hype, to be like, just because it's old doesn't mean it's going to be like lame.
Have you seen Citizen Kane?
No, I don't think I ever will.
Oh.
I don't know, maybe. I do like this idea of 12 Days of Christmas, and I think I want to challenge myself to not only watch new movies, but to make lists.
Yes.
And so,
for sure.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to try to do something. So maybe like classics that I used to refuse to watch, like maybe that'll be a good one. Because I don't know, I just have no interest. But the ones that I didn't finish, there is 3 that I didn't watch, and I probably honestly I probably won't. I'll just admit defeat. But it was Gremlins, Silent Night, Bloody Night. Maybe I'll watch that one.
Oh.
And then Arthur Christmas.
I haven't watched Gremlins either. I need to. I've heard good things.
Oh, but
I mean, it's like a classic, I'm sure.
Everything else, though. So Anna the Apocalypse, that was one of them I watched. Or I guess all of them are basically from the 12 Days of Christmas. But Anna the Apocalypse, that one was interesting. It was a musical, like a musical set during Christmas, and in a zombie apocalypse. Nice. And it was interesting. The music was like not as great, but I don't know if it was intending to be like, you know, an amazing musical. I think it was pretty entertaining. Like, I wasn't bored. And then I watched the Christmas Chronicles Part 1 and Part 2. Both not equally bad. The first one was bad. The second one was really, really bad. And that one, basically the gimmick is that it's Kurt Russell as Santa Claus. Yeah. Which I buy into. I liked it.
Yeah, he's a good, like, in Bone Tomahawk. Like, he's that guy, right? Like that like facial hair.
The facial hair in this one, they like curled it, so it looked even better. So I liked him. And then Goldie Hawn, which is his, well, they're not married, but his real partner played Mrs. Claus. So that was like a fun little family affair. But yeah, it was not great. Probably would never watch them again. And then Black Christmas and It's a Wonderful Life, which were the older movies that I watched, both got 4 stars. They were pretty good. Whoa.
That's pretty high for you. Like I feel
I
like
know.
I want to look at your letterbox spread, but I feel like it's on the lower end.
It is very much on the lower end. I give a lot of 2s and 3s.
Oh yeah, it is.
Mhm.
Mine's like almost like complements
Wow.
yours. I feel like mine would, like I tend to go like the higher end.
Oh yeah, I'm a little bit more cynical, I think. Or I don't like to give. It's kind of like what one of my old bosses used to say when she did, like performance reviews. Is she's like, I don't ever give. If it's like out of 5 stars, she would say, I don't ever give 5 stars because that means you like are perfect and you don't have
I
any
get
room
that.
for improvement.
Yeah.
And so that kind of stuck with me. Like I rarely give 5 stars because then there's like,
Then there's nothing.
yeah,
There's nothing left.
exactly. Then I have no notes, and like there's always something. And then I watched Elf.
Okay, yeah,
Classic.
I watched that too. I was gonna ask if that was on your like 12 days.
No, because I've seen it. The whole thing about 12 Days was that
Oh.
it's Christmas movies I've never seen.
Right. Okay.
So that one, usually for old movies like that are just like movies that I like, then I just like it. I don't give a review or I don't really put any stars on it. Next one was a new Netflix one that came out last year called Jingle Jangle: A Christmas Journey. That one was a lot of people in the reviews shared the same like idea as me, where we didn't know it was going to be a musical. It just like happened without
Really?
it was a musical, and I didn't.
That's the best way to
mind.
do it. I feel like to
Yeah.
sneak it up. Like if the last duel, like because we're gonna watch it today.
Yeah.
If the last duel ends up like secretly being a musical, that would be hilarious.
I'd be like, okay. I mean, if you're gonna have Ben Affleck in that haircut, then might as well have him singing.
Might as well.
Yeah. But yeah, I just didn't realize this was a musical. Some of the songs were fine. And I don't know if it's just because it caught me off guard that I was a little bit more critical of them, but they were like the music and the beats to the song were like good, and they were unlike, any Christmas movie I've seen. So
Nice.
I was like, okay. Love the story, the cast. I probably would watch it again, but like,
Beautiful gowns.
yeah. Well, I did like it too because it was an all, like at least all the, I don't remember if every person, but the like entire main cast were all black actors.
Oh, that's nice.
So I liked
That's
seeing,
cool.
I like seeing that, and the music kind of, because obviously because you're bringing in, like, what do I want to say? I think that's why the music was so different to me, because it's bringing in like a culture, not only like the people, but their like style of music and just the way that you tell a story. And I really
Right.
liked that it felt like it honored it just honored the actors. It honored the story that they're telling. Like it honored that culture in like so many different ways. And so that's why I liked it, and I wouldn't mind revisiting it, especially because if you look at all the layout of all the Christmas movies, it's so whitewashed.
Extremely.
That
Yeah.
it's nice to have an option, like a really classic Christmas option that has, a more diversity.
Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
think of a lot of musicals that, and like you said, Christmas is whitewashed. Like I feel like musicals are too.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
So I liked it for that. 2.5 stars though, because I'm harsh. All right, that's, that's a little harsh, because I didn't realize I just gave it the same that I gave Christmas Chronicles, and that is insulting. So I'm about to edit it right now and give it 3, because it was not bad.
That's funny.
It had Keegan-Michael Key too, and I like him.
Oh, yeah, he can sing, right?
Yeah, he was good. There was this one song, I'm trying to think of like my favorite song, and there was one that he did that I really liked. And then Forrest Whitaker was in it.
Dang,
I
stacked.
love Forrest Whitaker. Yeah.
That's
and
cool.
then the last 2 are the ones that we're talking about.
Okay.
I'm just really bad at logging stuff, but I've had another week where I just wanted to watch. We've been doing a lot of stuff, but I've also just wanted to watch like YouTube. And
Yeah.
just one show that I watched that's really bad, but I needed to catch up on it.
Yeah, I totally get that, because like after my insane first week in December where I watched like 30 movies, kind of got burnt out, so I've been watching not as much. But I still have a lot to talk about, because last like real episode we didn't catch up or anything, because it was Spider-Man. So I have some stuff. First thing I want to talk about is a short film called Please Care by Bertie Gilbert, which is a short film that I helped fund on Indiegogo late last year.
Ooh.
I was very excited because, there was like some perks that came along with it, obviously.
Mm.
And one of it was like seeing the film early. It's like doing its festival run. So I saw like the extended cut, or like what he said is essentially his Snyder cut of the movie, which is like the longest one. And I really liked it because I really like Bertie Gilbert's style. He's a UK or I think London-based.
That sounds familiar.
Director. He has some like really cool YouTube videos. He has a lot of short films that I really like. But the thing that stood out to me is his vlogs. One of my good friends, David, showed me his vlogs and how they're still very stylized and despite being, vlogs are typically just someone holding like their iPhone at their face and just talking to it, but his is very like I said, very stylized.
You've showed me his stuff before.
Yeah.
That's why that sounds familiar. And he plays one of Draco's.
Yeah, Draco Malfoy's
yeah.
Kids in the like epilogue scene.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw that.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool to be one of the few people, because it only has 8 reviews on Letterboxd, and I'm one of them.
Ooh, that's
so
nice.
It's also cool to like be a part of, like, because I helped fund it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool to be a part of that because I'm not given the chance to do that often. So that was cool. And then I saw this movie called Black Bear, which has been on my watch list for a while.
I wanted to watch that for so long. Is it good?
It is very good. I don't want to give away too much, but I really liked the first half specifically. I don't know. It like truly changed the way I thought about a specific thing. Like I said, I don't want to give away because you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But I watched The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which I was telling you about yesterday.
Yeah. Oh shit.
The source material is made by Alan Moore, the same guy who wrote The Watchmen. And you can kind of see like it's an ensemble of like real superheroes or like people with extraordinary abilities. And I just put steampunk Avengers because it feels like it's like the Wild Wild West mixed with Avengers. It's hilarious.
Interesting, but it wasn't good.
Not the greatest, but I can see why it's like nostalgic, because Kayla really likes those kind of movies where like she really likes Van Helsing. Is
that Hugh Jackman?
Hugh Jackman, yeah. I was trying to think of his name.
Oh wow.
Hugh Jackman, and there's one that I really like where I think it's John C. Reilly. He plays a vampire. I don't remember the name.
Vampire's Assistant.
Yeah, I really like that one. Like all those would all fit together in like a weekend to watch.
Okay.
Then
have you seen The Illusionist? I feel like that fits in there.
No, but I want to.
You haven't seen The Illusionist?
I don't think so.
That's the one that I think came out during the same year as The Prestige.
The Prestige. That's Edward Norton? Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I want to.
It's not that great, but it's kind of, well, it's probably not in the same realm, but it like reminds me of it.
Like campy, like American.
Kind of. Like it's not, yeah, a little bit. But maybe a little bit more grounded in reality.
Yeah. Okay. Then I finished Hawkeye.
Oh, I still haven't finished that either.
Which I completely agree with your criticism of it, where it's like 3 episodes worth of content in 6 episodes.
Yeah, it's you know what it feels like they should have done is just like a webisode thing. Like it feels like what they should have when you watch like a movie, or not a movie, let's say if you were watching WandaVision.
Right.
And they were like, you can get extra episodes of See What Hawkeye's Doing by going to
www.
Right. /extra. Like it seems like that.
I could see that.
I'm like, you didn't Vera Farmiga didn't need to get out of her house for this. Like, why did you ask her to do this?
I liked, for the most part, I liked where the characters were left off. So we'll talk about it more when you finish it, or if you do.
And if you, I'm gonna finish it because we have one episode. But also, if you would have asked me like how many episodes they made and how many I watched, I would have been like, I don't know, 3. But how many were there? Like 6?
Yeah, there's 6 in total.
What was the point? It just felt like such a waste. Put
That's
that
very
budget
true.
into something else. Hawkeye didn't need this.
Yeah.
Okay, but maybe I'll change my mind. Doubt it. But
There's an after credit scene. I want to know what you think about it. Watch it
okay.
too.
There was supposed to be. There apparently there was one during Matrix.
Really?
I think I don't know. I guess. Yeah. I don't know.
Dang.
I don't know how much it has to do with the actual story. I think it's just like a fun little thing.
Oh.
But I didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it either. I don't know what was there. Then I watched. I just been watching because Mom watches a bunch of random movies.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of random stuff she
Mm-hmm.
just consumes. So she put on Premonition, which is Sandra Bullock. Have you seen it?
I know the premise of Premonition, but I don't.
Well, explain what the premise is.
Isn't it like she thinks that her husband's dead or something, and then she wakes up and he's alive?
Yeah.
Like that's it, right?
she goes like back and forth and then she'll fall asleep and then he's dead again.
Yeah. It's
So
kind of like that one Source Code. Do you remember that movie? With
yeah,
Jake
it
Gyllenhaal?
would. Yeah.
Random, but okay.
So
She truly watched.
She watched that movie.
She goes at when you like see the like top 10 or you see those like not just added but like trending and you're like who scrolls through this and watches it? Our mom.
Our mom does that.
Sorry, please go on.
That's funny. I didn't finish the movie because I fell asleep halfway through,
Oh.
and much like Sandra Bullock, when I woke up, it was a different world. Because I woke up and she was watching a different movie because the other one had finished.
What movie?
It was.
What if it was a different Sandra Bullock movie?
That would have blown my mind. Miss Sloane.
Oh, okay.
Which
That's a good one.
I didn't finish either because I was like, oh, it's whatever. But I still liked it because I felt like it's probably a bad movie, but it felt or like what I saw was bad. But it felt like the perfect experience for that movie. That I fell asleep and woke up and
she was
like,
dead.
Yeah. And then I was on like Christmas vibes, so we watched Unaccompanied Minors.
Oh, I didn't
which
log
you didn't
that one.
log.
Yeah.
I was sure to.
Here, let me do it right now.
And then Elf, which I really like Elf. I was like a little skeptical because I keep on seeing on the film Twitter that people are saying it's like quintessential Elf or it's a quintessential Christmas movie. And I see why. Like it definitely
Have you
put
never
me.
seen it before?
I've seen it before, but it's been a long time. But I definitely see why because it definitely put me in the Christmas mood, in the festive feel.
It truly does. It's a good one.
And then yesterday, after I was waiting to pick up Homer from work, we watched 1922, which is a Stephen King.
Oh yeah, I was there when she
The
started
adaptation.
watching it.
It was a really slow burn, and
But like, did it pay off?
no,
Oh, okay.
not entirely, but I mean it was like Stephen King, so it's like some of the imagery was demented and like kind of interesting, but then I watched Pig. Which
Life-changing.
truly is one of the best movies this year. To me, like it probably was the best like original thing I've seen this year. Like I think still Dune beats it for me this year. Cuz like that was so momentous. And I keep on seeing people saying like that they don't like Dune because of it just feels like a setup for the second one, but like, I feel like it's so much more than that. But I want to talk about Pig. Pig was fantastic.
You know what? I put Dune before Pig on mine too. But I don't know. We'll see.
That's what I'm saying. Like for an original film, I think it was absolutely fantastic, and Nick Cage does a great job. Alex Wolff was okay too. I didn't know he was in it. He kind of.
I don't think I did either, and I was like, oh yeah, it feels like he'd be in this movie.
Yeah, it caught me off. It was a surprise that he was in it.
But a good surprise, I think. He was good.
Yeah, he was really good. It's just, like, I just wanted to cook someone a meal after that. I was like,
yeah. I think my favorite, I guess we can spoil it. Well, there's like one spoiler, but my favorite moment was whenever they find out that the pig was like not even that great. It was like it was okay at finding truffles, but it was him. He was the one that found it. He just wanted it because like this whole time you think that he wanted to find the pig because it was like such a good. It was hard to replace it because it's such a good pig, like truffle find. I don't know what you call it, but like truffle hunting pig.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if I don't think he said it was bad, but it wasn't like he didn't
need it for that purpose. Like he just loved the pig.
That it's not, she wasn't irreplaceable because of that. It's because he loved her, and that was like,
damn.
And then the whole like, I don't know. This movie was just very surprising too. Like the whole aspect of, Alex Wolff and his dad, and like,
yeah,
just that whole storyline. Like, I guess if the theme today of one of the movies, if we're talking about like, why make a movie about this? Why do this? Why have all these plot lines in it? Like how Licorice Pizza, like that was my question the entire time. I was like, what is the purpose of all these?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the same here. And I think that's the critiques that I've heard is like, I guess one in particular is like, why about a truffle pig? Why? But like, it makes sense to be like it's every single part of the movie served the plot in a certain way. Like, oh, why have Nicolas Cage be the chef that cooked Alex Wolff's parents a good meal? Because that's just how it works.
I mean, it ultimately brought him back to his pig.
Yeah.
But
it's a movie about grief.
Grief, yeah, loss, and just how intimate it is to share a birthday or make someone a meal is. Like, I just want him to cook me a steak. Nick Cage.
I want to sit. Another favorite scene I had, just the entire movie, but when he was like trying to find out, when he went to that chef and he was like sitting there and he was so intimidated, I told Sebastian, that's how I want to be. Like, I want people to just be like nervous when I sit down.
Yeah, I really liked like how like he was like, you can see his past life and how he was and how different he changed, like it turned out to be with those interactions. I really liked that. And I wrote in my review that like I really want to see more of that, but like I like how this movie made me, or just like gave us a glimpse into that. Felt perfect. Good movie. Definitely watch it. It's on Hulu.
Very good. I think it's a theme in the like top 3 movies that I like. Maybe not Dune. Dune's more of like a blockbuster, but The Power of the Dog and Pig are my favorites. And they feel so quiet.
Yeah, because I think it like subverted all of my expectations. Because I thought it was gonna be John Wick style, where he's just gonna like. But it was very quiet.
Kind of was like emotion wise.
Yeah.
He like ruined all those men that he.
Where are you in your life, man? Did you want to open a bar?
So funny.
Emotionally, John Wick.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's a good review right there. That's a good one-liner.
Emotional John Wick.
Yeah.
There you go.
Like
Speaking
mental.
of John Wick.
Speaking of John Wick. Oh, yes. Yeah, speaking of John Wick. Yes.
Sorry, do you have any more, or is that it?
No, that's it.
Do you watch Pig this morning? What a way to start.
I mean,
your
it
day.
was like 2 a.m.
And that's when you watched it?
Yeah.
You like went to bed like curled in a ball, like one tear falling.
I did feel sad, but I was like it was like I just felt like very melodramatic.
No,
I was trying to say like
melancholy.
Is that I was feeling melancholic.
You were happy for what the pig gave him, but you're sad that she was gone.
Exactly.
There you go. That's grief.
Yeah. Well.
Oh, it reminds me of. Sorry.
No, go for it.
No, it reminds me of. I kept thinking about that movie whenever I saw that one Andrew Garfield interview.
Yeah, with his mom.
And he said that grief is just the unexpressed love. I think that's what he was going through in this movie.
Or what Vision said. What is grief
Oh.
if not love persisting?
There you go. And then Hawkeye happened and ruined it all. No kidding. Okay. No, wait. We're gonna start with Licorice Pizza, right?
Yes. Speaking of randomness,
Mm-hmm.
let's hit the break. When we get back, Licorice Pizza,
If we
and
must.
then The Matrix Resurrections.
I thought Revolutions.
Reloaded.
You know what I keep thinking too is resolution. It doesn't matter.
Oh, it is a good resolution. But let's hit the break.
Licorice Pizza is the story of Alana Kane and Gary Valentine growing up, running around, and going through the treacherous navigation of first love in the San Fernando Valley in 1973. Directed and written by Paul Thomas Anderson, starring Alana Haim, Cooper Hoffman, and Sean Penn.
Critics gave it a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes, an 8.3 out of 10 on IMDb,
What?
and on Letterboxd,
Mm-hmm.
it has an average of 4.1 stars. I gave it 3 stars. I don't know what you gave it.
Do you want to read your review?
No, because they could just check it out on Letterboxd.
Dang. I
Um,
gave it 2 stars. I said great performances and a solid soundtrack still didn't save me from being pretty bored throughout.
Yeah, okay. So I forgot where I read this, but I read that essentially the way PTA writes his films is like he has the characters, and I'm paraphrasing, I could be very wrong also, but
I think I know what
essentially
you're talking
like he
about.
writes what his characters would do and doesn't necessarily have like a conclusion for them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like what the characters would do, and he just like
And he's just like
introduces new crazy wacky guys.
wacky. Well, I think he also said that he does that and then he just waits until it comes to a natural conclusion.
Yeah, okay.
Which is an interesting way to write. And I think that's the way you should do it. I mean, I've never heard that before until I read that same thing. And I'm sure it works.
I don't think it works as well in this one.
I don't think so, but I don't know. I mean, you just read how like the great reviews it got, but it's not a Last Night in Soho situation where I think it's like
Night and day, like it's
maybe it is though, because I truly didn't like it, and the more I think about it, I dislike it more and more.
I think I what I want to focus more on is like technically what this movie was, because I think it was, like you said, I mean I really liked the way it was shot, and it felt perfect for the 70s decade. Like I really liked the pinball like just landscape. I thought it was fantastic, and the music felt really fitting. I got lost in the sauce, I think.
Yeah, the entire time, like, I feel like, I don't know, the entire time I kept trying to figure out what this movie was even about, and I don't think I ever figured it out.
I think it was about just like young love and how reckless it can be, but I don't know, because in my review I put I didn't want to talk about like its major criticisms, because for the most part I do agree with them. I don't get why Alana is 29 or 28 or whatever, and Gary is 15. I feel like you can have that same message of, you know, young reckless love and the things you'll do for it, and wanting to be mature and finding someone who makes you feel mature. You could still have that
seen as mature and make like, I feel like a lot of the men in the movie that weren't 15 or didn't take her seriously.
Yeah, for sure. Like Sean Penn essentially forgot about her, wanted her to fit the mold of, I forgot the actress's name.
Grace Kelly.
Yeah. And Bradley Cooper just saw her as a sex object, and then
He literally said tail.
yeah, and then Benny Safdie's character just wanted to use her to cover up the fact that he was gay.
Yeah.
And the Gary is the only one who like truly, I guess, saw her for who she was. But then again, why make her 20, like her late 20s? I feel like she could have been a senior in high school, 18, 19.
Or he could have been older.
Or he could have been older.
But yeah, and my thing too is like, because the whole thing is like, oh, he sees her as, or this one review I read said that the reason that she, you know, fell in love with him is because all these men didn't see her as mature and didn't really care about her opinion in any way.
Mm-hmm.
And so Gary like paid attention to her and he respected her and all this stuff. But like, part of me is like, well, is that, like you said, does that have to be in a 15-year-old? And can't you argue, like, if we're talking about the power dynamics, I don't know. Like, does he not just respect or, like, is in awe of her because she's older? Another thing, too, is I feel like they tried to balance it. I did kind of see the ways that he tried to, I feel like he tried to patch it up and not make it seem as weird. And, like, one of them is that she still lives with, like, she also still lives with her parents. She doesn't really have any prospects. She just, like, does kind of whatever. And Gary is somebody that is well respected, or not, like, he's pretty much well respected. He's well known around town. He, like, is a hustler. Like, he acts very mature. He, like, owns
He's a
businesses.
businessman.
Yeah. And that didn't feel like a quirky thing after, like, 40 minutes. It felt like a way that they were trying to patch up.
Yeah, and
making us feel okay about the 15-year-old of it all.
I feel like it would have worked better, like, if she was younger or if he was older. Like, maybe it wouldn't have been as effective if he was older, like if he was 18, because, like, he is seen as a man. But then just make her younger.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I think that's my biggest thing, is that's what we're saying, is, like, it's not, because there's this whole, I just don't understand the discourse that's happening, especially on Twitter, but Twitter is fucking annoying anyways. But how people are like, oh, why are you trying to assign some sort of morality to this movie? It's just a movie. Like, it doesn't mean that PTA actually thinks that 15-year-olds should date 25-year-olds. And I don't think anybody's saying that. I think that people are saying, like, hey, it just made me feel weird.
It's a weird way to give whatever message that he was trying to get across. I think it's a weird way to do that.
Yeah.
And
paired with the racist jokes, like, that was just so, like, I don't know. I guess there can be arguments all day about why he included the age gap, but there's no question there's no question if those racist jokes should have been left in or not, because, like, why they didn't need to be in at all.
And if you take them out, nothing changes.
Yeah, absolutely nothing.
Like, maybe on some weird tangent you could argue that just like the absurdity of the first time it happens. Like, I remember we watched it, we were just, like, laughing, like what's like
yeah,
it's
I think we were so uncomfortable. I was like, what the fuck is happening?
It's
like,
just so absurd.
And every time I laughed, like, I felt so uncomfortable, and I was, like, looking around, like, is this
what
okay? Is happening? Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously it's not, but
yeah, and especially, like, the second time, I don't remember laughing the second time. Like, I feel like I kept saying, like, what the fuck? Because, like, the first time, like you said, the first time to do it is, like,
it's that
weird.
level of shock.
Yeah,
I think.
and then the second time is like, okay, like, this is not funny. And I don't know, it just, especially now, and somebody brought up this point, like, why would you do an Asian, like, I mean, any sort of jokes like that is really, like, it's really offensive, but, like, why would you ever want to make jokes about Asian people right now during this time? Why would you ever be like, oh yeah, that's fine? They're taking all the hits, so might as well just add more. Like, what are you fucking doing? And like we said, like, it like didn't do anything for the plot. This is a white man making it, so, like, it feels extra malicious. And I think that is getting kind of sidetracked because people are so focused in on the age gap. But that just felt so egregious. I feel so bad for any like, I don't know, for Asian people that went to go see that expecting, you know, a quirky movie, and then seeing shit like that, something so egregious and disgusting.
Out of pocket.
Yeah.
In
Like,
to the nth degree.
Usually sometimes when people say that they walk out of movies, I kind of like roll my eyes. But like, if people wanted to walk out because of that, then I'd be like, oh yeah, I would have walked out.
Yeah, I get that.
I would have like empathized with that. I would have been like, yeah, I see why you wouldn't want to be in there for that. Yeah, I don't know. It just felt, this movie just, I think my only two notes were what exactly was this movie trying to say? And then just because you can put it in a movie, should you? Because there was one critique that people kept like dunking on this person for, where I wish I could find it, but where they said like, this movie just feels like, they just let PTA do like whatever he wanted. And then people were like, well, shouldn't that be what movie making is? Like, shouldn't you just let directors do what they want?
I agree.
And I get that, but I kind of, and maybe this is a controversial take, but I kind of understand what they're saying. Like, at a certain point, I feel like you should be like, well, should you include that? Or like, should this be something that you want to put in your movie?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it fits under the like, what's the purpose of having that? Like, if it's just there because, like, I have things that I want to put in my movies because, like, I think it would be like it would serve the ultimate purpose for like what I want to say. I don't know what the purpose of those racist jokes, like stuff like that. Like, maybe we just don't get PTA, and
it's humor.
That's probably what it is. Like, what it will boil down to. And I just want to know.
And
I don't know his vision, because there's so much that goes into making a movie, and I don't know, like, we can't really know what he meant. But like, from what I got from it, I just wasn't for me.
Yeah, not for me.
Not for me.
And I think too, I understand when people are like annoyed. I don't know, it's just people are so, anytime you criticize this movie for the age gap, people are like, oh, that's such a bad take, this is so stupid, why would you, when like people can just have fucking opinions. Like, not once have we ever said like you shouldn't have made this movie. I think we're just saying like, why would you put that in there? And I'm not trying to say like he should, like, I don't know, I just don't, I think people are just so dramatic where they think anytime you say this movie was not great and I didn't like it, that they're like, well, what would you rather them do? What would you rather them make? And I'm like, nobody's saying that we think this movie should be banished from Earth. We're just saying like, I don't want to see it again, and it was not good, and I didn't like it. Like, that's a fine thing to say about a movie. It's okay.
I mean, that's
everybody's gonna be fine.
Yeah,
you're just so dramatic, I think. But
whatever. I keep on seeing like a lot of, all the reviews that I saw were extremely positive.
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't get it.
One of the reviews was talking about like just the level of exclusivity, because like it was released on the coasts first, and they were able to see it, on 70 millimeters or whatever. And I wonder if that has like anything to
100%.
play in it.
I think so, because I think there's two things. I think one, it has to do with the exclusivity, because as somebody, not to brag, but as somebody who's seen like a very few amount of times, but has seen like films at like a film festival where it's not widely released, there is a sort of what is the word? There's a sort of like, it kind of makes you like the movie a little bit more just because of that. Like, if I were to see it in a different context, I probably wouldn't like it as much as I did because I was at South by, or because I happened to get into the screening, or it probably does add some sort of what is the word? It
creates a certain atmosphere for sure.
Yeah. Like, I think that has something to do with it, and I feel like those same people, if they were to watch it again, maybe they would have a different opinion. I think another thing too is that I guess something to call out, and something a lot of other people have called out, is a lot of people that give glowing reviews are all white people. And I think I don't know if the blatant racism is lost on them, because it was so blatant in this one, but I feel like it's more of a joke to them, and it doesn't, like, when you sit in the car after it, you're not like, fuck, that was, like, imagine being an Asian person sitting through that. Like, there's a certain empathy that is hard to teach with certain groups, because they're not used to, like, experiencing similar things. You know, they're not used to seeing. I saw that Holiday movie, and there was a scene. This is not comparable at all, but it just reminded me of it where like I forgot to log it, by the way, but I watched it, and there was a scene where one of the holidays was Cinco de Mayo, and everybody was in sombreros and mustaches, and like it just like was like annoying, and I was like, I guarantee none of the actors, or if like none of these people feel weird about it because they're all white and nobody cares.
True.
Sorry, it was a ramble, but
no, it's fine.
That was really glaring.
Well, I do want to mention the things I did like about it.
Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper was fantastic, and that hit because it felt like 3 different stories or 4 different stories. Like the beginnings of their relationship, and then Sean Penn, and then Bradley Cooper, and then Benny Safdie, and then the ending. Bradley Cooper's like section was the best because it felt like the most the highest stakes that these kids had to deal with, and like the realization that Alana had at the end where she was just like, what am I doing? I need to like actually be doing stuff and
do something with my life.
Yeah, but that scene where that sequence where they ran out of gas.
The truck thing was so fucking
that's
scary.
what I'm talking about. Yeah, that was like the best part where I was like, okay, I like this.
Yeah.
Or I feel super anxious for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why it made me feel something.
It made me feel something. So I did like that part.
Alana Haim was pretty good. I don't know if I'm saying her last name right.
I think so.
Haim?
I think it's Haim.
She was pretty good.
She was good.
I liked her.
Yeah. I liked, because you could see her different, like she just wanted to be acknowledged by Sean Penn.
Yeah.
Like she was like, what's my real name? Like that was like, oh.
Yeah. Oh, that was sad. I think she's good though. I think I hope she does more movies. Another review I saw, we're just like reciting other reviews, but somebody said that this was a really good character. They just like they wasted her on this movie, and I totally agree with that. I think she was a good character. Same with Gary too.
Yeah, a lot of running.
Oh my god. Okay, wait. I completely forgot about that. So that I don't know why, but truly one of the most annoying things in this movie is that they're always fucking running. I'm sure there was some point to that, but like it made me so upset. I don't know why. Like why? It reminded me of like in high school. You know, when there was always like 4 kids that would always when they
just
went to
run
class,
everywhere.
they would always fucking run like full sprint to class. Why?
Maybe it is that. Maybe it's like to speak on that childishness.
I guess.
Was that they couldn't just drive. Or I guess Alana drove them places, but they just needed to run places. Maybe because it felt more grandiose for them.
Maybe.
I think that's probably it.
There's a lot of things in this movie where I was like, or like, you know what it reminded me of is Lady Bird. Do you remember when everybody was obsessed with Lady Bird? And I was like, I don't know if you've seen it before.
I think I've seen it, but I honestly don't I don't remember anything about it.
Honestly, same. Because it was one of those movies I was excited to see because everybody was like, couldn't shut the fuck up about it. And I watched it and I was like, this is the one? I don't know. I just didn't get it. And people are like, well, it's a love letter to her, whatever place she was from in California. And I think they said the same thing about this one. Like, this is a love letter to
the 70s.
Yeah, but to that specific area that they lived in.
Encino.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't really care. I feel like I'm being too negative. It wasn't for me. It's fine. I'm glad. You know, I am glad that people like it. I don't hate people that... I'm not like, oh, how dare people like this movie.
No,
I don't care enough about it. But I'm glad people like it. I'm glad people had a good time.
I'm definitely glad that people were able to, like, have, like, a very positive experience with this movie.
Yeah.
Because it felt like... More than anything, it felt like it truly wasn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like...
Which is fine.
Yeah. I appreciate what this movie does for, like, the art of cinema. That's what I think I was trying to say.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because I think it is a very... Like, it really speaks to, like, what the art is, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think whatever he was trying to say, he did it.
Do you want some fun facts?
Yeah, let's fun fact it up.
There's a few. So, none of the younger cast members were aware that Bradley Cooper was involved in the film until he came charging at them in full costume as the cameras were rolling.
That is perfect.
That, you know what, I think I like these fun facts more than the movie itself, because that's amazing. The final take used in the film, where John Peters, which I think is Bradley Cooper's character, introduces himself and asks who is in charge, was the first time Cooper Hoffman or Alana Haim saw him.
That's funny. That's like perfect to like
I think that's very funny.
introduce those characters, or like the actual actors.
Can you imagine
to get that
in
reaction?
That costume and that wig just running at you? That's so scary.
His walk is funny too, because it was very like, he was like very like sway-ish.
Oh, God, he's so funny. Okay. Leonardo DiCaprio's father, George DiCaprio, portrays the man who sells Gary a waterbed in the film.
Okay, I saw his name, and I was like, I wondered if there was any relation.
Well, there's a lot of, I think this movie was one of them where there's a lot of like nepotism discourse, because Steven Spielberg's, I think, daughter is in it too. I don't know who she is in it. And obviously like Cooper Hoffman is Philip Seymour Hoffman's son.
Oh, really?
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, the main guy, Gary. That's his son. And because he didn't want to be an actor, but PTA like convinced him to be in the movie.
That's like, because I know they work together a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
I think he's good in it. I didn't think like, oh God, he's not. I do every time there is like, because I knew he was going to be in this movie. And every time, especially because I love Philip Seymour Hoffman so much.
Yeah.
And every time I see like there's a son or a daughter of blank, I'm like, oh God. But he was pretty good.
Yeah, I liked, like, he was like charismatic, but like he knew that he needed to be extremely charismatic, like the character. Mm-hmm. Like I think he acted really well.
I liked him in it. So George DiCaprio was a well-known figure in the Southern California underground art scene during the era depicted in the film.
Oh.
Whenever Alana is seen driving the truck, it is actually Alana driving the truck, not a double or a camera trick.
So even going backwards?
I think so. Well, they said every time we see her driving it. Oh, well, I guess.
Oh, we don't see her driving when it goes like really fast backwards. I don't think.
Oh, well, there you go.
Some parts though. That is really cool. I wonder if it was like, because in it they have that gag where it's like, can you speak Portuguese? Like if when she got cast for it, they're like, can you drive backwards?
Oh. Yeah, sure. That's what I would say. All right, so Alana's family is played by her real life family members. I'm sure people knew this, but so she and her sisters are the members of Haim, a Grammy nominated rock band. Paul Thomas Anderson previously directed a number of music videos for them when he was a child. Oh, this is the crazy part. So when he was a child, his elementary art school teacher was Donna Haim, the mother of the girls. The film was partly inspired by a crush he had on her when he was her student. This makes me feel gross. Because she basically, the director had a crush
on
her mom, and then so she's kind of playing her mom, and it's like it feels like it's playing a I don't know if a fantasy, but that feels weird. That feels very strange to me.
It's playing out as fantasy. Yeah. That is strange.
Especially, I mean, it recontextualizes the whole like boob scene for showing him her boobs. You know what? Okay, that's what it was. Back to this real quick. But I don't really care about the like flirtiness of it all. I think that's still really weird. But I didn't really care as much. But I think when it started to get to a territory where I was like very uncomfy was when she like showed him her boobs. What was the point of that? Or when that scene where he was like hovering his hand over it. Like I was like, that's weird. That's really weird. And what do you need that for? Okay, that's it. That's my piece. This movie is fine. If you liked it, okay.
Good for you, honestly. Like, I'm happy that you were able to like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Return to a world of two realities. One, everyday life. The other, what lies behind it. To find out if his reality is a construct, to truly know himself, Mr. Anderson will have to choose to follow the White Rabbit once more in The Matrix Resurrections. Directed by Lana Wachowski, Written by Lana Wachowski, David Mitchell, and Alexander Hemmon. Starring Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, and Yahya Abdul-Mateen II.
Critics gave it a 5.8 out of 10 on IMDb. Or,
What?
yeah, on IMDb. A 66% on Rotten Tomatoes. And on Letterboxd. Oh, wait, it's loading. On Letterboxd, it has an average of a 3.1 stars. First of all, how dare you all?
Ooh, I did give it a 3.
I gave it a 4.5. I really liked it. So, let me talk about my experience with watching the other ones, because that's what I watched.
Please do.
By myself in College Station.
Can you give some context, too? Because I haven't seen... Well, the reason I think one of my review is a little bit on the lower end is because I didn't watch them again. So I think my understanding is a little bit far removed.
I mean, like, I don't think I could give enough to... Like, without just, like, you watching them. I think
okay.
that's probably the best. But overall, it's, like, a really, really solid trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the first is, like, obviously the greatest. Like, I think I like them in the order that they came out. Much like the Spider-Man trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because the first one, like, also for its time, very groundbreaking.
All that leather.
A lot of leather. And the second was, like, a great... addition to that, like just adding to the lore of like the machine world with all the programs. I think it was like a fantastic move. And then the third one, which is not as good. I don't think it's a solid like ending to the trilogy. Like I'm glad that we got like something else to add to it, because you know at the end I guess spoilers, but they're like 20 years old. The like Neo sacrifices himself.
Yeah.
And like in the third one, like the only thing that I was like really like I really really loved was like the last fight sequence, which is like in the rain with Agent Smith and like all of the Smiths.
Yep.
And I think that was like a perfect like action sequence to end it on, but I just feel like the plot was not really solidified, but then we have this movie. So like that kind of criticism I feel is kind of wrapped up as far as that movie, because I was able to like watch them all back to back, which I definitely think like you benefit from doing that.
If I had more time, or I should have planned it in advance, but I want to watch them again. This did make me want to revisit them.
Definitely. Because the first one, like I said, it's just so groundbreaking, and the second one just adds... I really, really like how much, like, the lore you get into the programs, into... Like, you find out more about the Oracle and Seraph and Sati, who we see. Like, I really was nervous that we weren't going to see her. I forgot who played her.
Priyanka Chopra Jonas.
Yes, there you go. Which I've seen some people say that like either that they didn't like her or they wanted like a minor role, or they thought it was like she was too much of a minor role. But I thought it was perfect.
What did she do in the first movies? I don't remember her.
She is in, I think the second one. The third one I think. Where Neo gets trapped in between the machine world and the Matrix. And Sati is a program, and she, like, her parents are trying to bring her into the Matrix. And then he doesn't really, like, help her out, but she tries to help him, or, like, her dad tries to help him. But
This sounds familiar.
The program that is, like, in charge of that, like, tunnel between the machine world and the Matrix can't take Neo because of the Frenchman. It's like too much to get into, like I said, but I really liked her character in this movie. Like, it just felt like a good way to see the like everyone again, and after seeing this, I rank it like second after the Matrix. So it's Matrix, Resurrections, Reloaded, Revolutions. For me.
Okay.
Just because I feel like it went back to its core of what the Matrix is and like what reality is and all of that. But it did have like some lore into the programs with like all the sentience or whatever they called them, like with the machines that were helping out the humans. Like I liked that too. And I think the third movie, a lot of the criticisms were that they focused too much on like the real world and what was going on with like the battles and all that.
Yeah.
Which I totally get, but I feel like it was a good balance in this movie of like, you know, we got to see General Niobe or Jada Pinkett Smith's character.
Yeah.
Which you didn't know who she was. Like you didn't believe me that it was her because she looks so different because she's aged.
I didn't. Wait, what? Yeah, I did.
Oh, you're like, is it really her? Were you not?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I don't remember. Well, I guess, okay. I need to explain. So, the first time we tried to watch it,
I watched
tried to watch it, it was like, what was it? It was Christmas Eve?
Christmas Eve, yeah.
We went over, I went over and it was pretty late. And well, first of all, I didn't realize how fucking long it was. It was like 2 hours, 30 minutes, right?
Something like that.
And I was like super tired because I just didn't sleep a lot the night before. And it was super late. And this is the first time that like I was trying so hard to watch it. But I remember, I think during the scene where, I started to lose my battle with sleep. Whenever they got to see Trinity in the garage.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, truly, I felt like a child because I was like, I had my eyes open and then they kept like closing slowly and slowly. And then I like kept trying to open them and then I finally just like, I just fell asleep. And then I woke up, I think around, like I woke up once or twice. I kept going in and out of sleep and I was like, I can sleep like 5 minutes here and there and I'll still be able to understand what's happening. And so I fell asleep like a couple of times. And the last time I fell asleep, I like closed my eyes and it felt like 5 or 10 minutes. And I kind of woke up, but I didn't open my eyes because I heard some like loud music and I thought there was a fight scene happening. Mm-hmm. But then I opened my eyes and the credits were rolling. And I was like, I looked at Sebastian and I was like, the movie's over? He's like, yeah. And I was like, I slept through the whole fucking thing. And he's like, no, like an hour.
Yeah, like half of it. God. Like half of the movie you fell asleep, which
that's like the first time in a while that's ever happened. I was trying so hard to watch it. I with all my might, I was trying to stay awake, but I just couldn't fucking do it. I was so tired.
I was very excited.
I finished it. I mean, I didn't just end it there. I actually finished it, but yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, I have a couple of notes. Not too much, but I liked where the movie was headed, like how they, paid homage to the previous movies.
Yeah, and I thought it was very smart the way that
Oh yeah, how he's the game designer.
Yeah.
I was like, this is like really cool to see the little like action figures of the Sentinels and they
played like footage from the
movie. Yeah, there were some parts where it was a little bit too much maybe.
Yeah. I do wish this might be a dumb critique, but I think because the last time I'd seen these movies were so long ago, it just didn't look like a Matrix movie. It looked
at the end I could see maybe, but
I just miss that like greenish tint. I miss the like the grainy. I think it's just because it was an older movie. I don't know if it was just green in this movie and maybe I just like remember it as having a green filter over it. But it just and that's the thing too, is that they did used to film with the Super 35 or something. And this one is the first one that they shot digitally, and I think that I didn't like that. I wish they would have shot it the same way they did the other ones.
That's impressive that you like remember that, or like maybe I'm just dumb because like I watched them pretty close to each other and like I felt, I don't know, to me like this is like one of the first movies that I like technically I didn't really pay attention to, but maybe because I care more about the story. Because it felt like, yeah, sure, technically it might have felt like a Matrix movie, but like I felt like we went back to the Matrix, you know, like that line that Jonathan Groff has where he's like, back to the Matrix. Like, that's what it was for me.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but to me it didn't feel that way. And I think it truly was just like the way that it was filmed. And when I read that it was, they did shoot it digitally and the other ones they didn't, I was like, oh, that's why.
I could see that looking back.
And I think maybe if I watch the other ones closer to this one, then I will think differently. But it just didn't, it felt so disconnected to me for that reason.
I could see that. And maybe revisiting this movie again, I could see maybe a little bit more disconnect just because of that technical aspect. But
and I felt like there was so much explaining that I needed to be done that this one felt like it just jumped way too soon into what was happening rather than explaining. But that's not a critique because, I mean, it's a sequel. Or it's the fourth movie in an installment. So, like, that's on me for not watching
I mean,
them.
I think for the general, like, in order for you to get the understanding of what's happening, they did a pretty good job by showing, you know, what happened to Morph, or not what happened to him, but who Morpheus was and all that.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I love about, you know, the Wachowskis and Lana for doing this one. It's Lana, right? Is that they didn't...
The other twin, or... They're the twins or sisters? Is that what they're called?
The Wachowskis? I don't know if they're called the twins.
Where have I heard that before? Never mind.
There's like twins in the third one or the second one.
I know that, but I thought somebody had called them that before. Maybe not. Anyways, the other sister didn't want to be involved in this one.
Really?
Just because she was like... So, this sister, the reason that she wanted to be involved was because... Or the reason she wanted to do another one... she was inspired by... Woo! Did you see that catch? Yeah. She was inspired by the death of her parents. I think they lost both their parents in the span of 5 weeks from each other.
Wow.
And then a close friend she lost. So she wanted to revisit it for that reason of talking about loss and I guess just like giving hope to people. But the reason the other sister didn't want to is because I think either during or after The Matrix came out, she transitioned. And so that was like a really understandably hard time in her. Well, look this up because I'm like paraphrasing really badly, but that was like a really hard time in her life. And so she didn't want to, she felt like revisiting that story was like revisiting that time in her life. And so
I could see that. That
makes
sense.
I don't think she was like, I didn't want you to make this. I think she was just saying like, I just don't want to be involved.
Yeah. Well, I think the fact that Lana was able, I know they don't want us to be like passive viewers of this movie. I know they want their audience to be very involved with just like the entire story, and I think it's great that they didn't necessarily there was some fan service, but it wasn't.
Oh, I don't think it was that bad though.
I think they did what they wanted to do, which was I think is fantastic, because that's something I think I would do if I was in that situation. It's like, I'm revisiting this story. I want to I want to finish it the way I want it to be finished.
That's
or
why
continue
I think it's a good thing that I was kind of confused, because I feel like fan service sometimes can be, it can feel like too annoying exposition where it's just like hand-holdy everything that happened. But I didn't need that. So I think the fact that if this makes sense, I think the fact that a lot of stuff I didn't remember or confused me, I think that was a good sign that this movie was very independent. Yeah,
I think, I completely agree. Because I was like eating all that shit up. Like, there was a statue in the background of Jonathan Groff's, that's his last name, right, Groff? Mm-hmm. His office, because he played like Agent Smith, kind of. Or he did.
A different oh no, it was him. Yeah.
There was a statue in the background, it was like a gold statue of like a pretty infamous shot where Neo punches, like in slow-mo, he punches the other Agent Smith in the face, and it was like that face, all like punched.
They wanted that guy to be in it.
Hugo Weaving?
Yeah, but I think he said he had conflicts.
I
kind of like that he wasn't in it though.
Yeah, I like that he wasn't, because I feel like if you bring back him, you got to bring back Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I liked Yaya.
I did. I liked him a lot too. I think he was really good. The outfits were amazing.
Oh.
Not like a beautiful gowns moment, but like the outfits were truly
Beautiful
amazing.
gowns, beautiful movie.
Yeah. I wanted every single one of them, especially the mustard one. Oh.
Fire. I just wanted the beads. I want to be in bead form.
Oh, I was like, what? Oh, like in that thing that you like push your hand through?
Yeah.
That's what it looked like the entire time.
Yeah.
And I liked it.
Yeah, just thinking back on this movie, like I absolutely loved it. Like it just felt like a great way to end it. Like, and I can see people, like I feel like I've read people being annoyed at the ending.
How, in what way?
Just because, like, you know, it wasn't really like a real conclusion. I mean, like, to me it was, but like in the fact that, like, I'm content knowing that they are just gonna like remake the Matrix however they see fit. But I feel like people would want to see that, like what that looks like.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're leaving it open, but like even then, I think we get it. I think we get the point. And I think isn't that the end is more about like not what they're gonna do with the Matrix, but the fact that they can do whatever they want with the Matrix. Like that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I was like, well, they don't have to answer to anybody. Like I like that moment where he's like, well, he's trying to negotiate, and they're like, we don't have to fucking negotiate with you.
Yeah.
You are nothing to us.
Peace.
I will say it did remind me of like no matter how hard you try, it always looks goofy to see people flying. It always looks goofy.
I really, really liked that moment where he tries to fly.
Oh, and it's her?
No. Where he tries to fly. He's like, do you think you could
Oh,
fly?
yeah, and he's like, no.
And he tries it, and then he's like, yeah,
That was really funny.
never again. I really like that part. And I also like how, you know, Trinity was kind of the badass. I mean, she's always been extremely badass, but she was like the one where she was the one flying and just like carrying him.
Oh, that's what I liked about this movie, because I remember it mostly being him, and I was really surprised about. And maybe I was like, maybe it's just because I haven't seen her in a while, but it feels like it's mostly surrounded around Neo, right? Like most of the movies.
Yeah, I mean, like he's the one, obviously, but in the first one, yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in the second and third, they focus more on their like love
Relationship.
and their relationship.
And that's what I liked that this one did. It like went way into it. Somebody described it too, saying that this movie was talking about how Neo is not really the one, that they're both the one, because
it's them.
Love is like they share everything, and that's why she was the only one who could fly, but at the end they both could because they were together, and that was the point of it, that they wanted to keep them separate enough to where they couldn't like like they couldn't be together, but they could still like they're powerful enough to like power the entire Matrix, or however that worked. That was kind of confusing to me, but
yeah, essentially, I think it's also confusing looking back.
That was the only thing that was like the mind stuff, and I was like, and then she was like, we need to use a brain, and
Another
yours
brain.
works, and I was like, what? But I don't know. I was like, I just don't have, my brain would not work for that.
Bugs, that character, her glasses are cool.
Oh, I don't remember. I did see that the costume designer they like brought somebody in that especially like for the glasses.
I can see why, because those are fire.
Very good.
Fire frames.
But yeah, I liked that they brought Trinity in more, but they were like, not like one of them is better than the other, but that they're
both needed
together
to be the one, essentially.
And I really loved that part where she was like, "Do we have this plan?" But she has to want to do it.
It's all up to her.
I liked that a lot.
Yeah. And there's a moment where you're like, "Oh shit, yeah, she's not going to."
And then he calls her the worst name in the world, Tiffany.
What a
Fuck
Chad.
Did you call me? Oh, I know, Chad and Tiffany.
Tiffany.
So funny. I will say, I don't know if this is a bad take. I didn't like Neil Patrick Harris in this.
That is a pretty hot take, because I think a lot of people really liked him in this. I liked him.
I didn't like him.
I didn't
like that slow-mo moment.
Yeah, that was
like that
weird. Like, there was a weird like blur around him, but I liked the character and how, like, just what the character was going for. Like, and I think he did a great job with it.
Yeah, maybe I need to watch it again. But I was like,
Yeah,
just
maybe.
that whole scene where he was explaining shit. I was like, I don't understand what you're saying.
Did you watch it from the part where you fell asleep, or did you watch the
Yeah.
entire thing?
No, I didn't watch the entire thing.
No, you should.
Oh, okay, one day.
One day.
I watch all the. How about this? I'll watch like the trilogy with Sebastian because he's never seen them.
Oh, and then
and
revisit.
then
It.
we'll watch the last.
Okay, yeah, that'll probably be best.
But I did. I gave it like 3 stars or something. I think 3. So I did like it. I enjoyed watching it. I love Keanu Reeves. Carrie-Anne Moss is amazing. They both look great.
They truly do. Haven't
Didn't age
aged
at all. But yeah, I love Keanu. I'll watch him in anything.
He's fantastic. I didn't know that. I don't know if both of them were involved, but I know there were. I think they were. Both of the Wachowskis directed Sense8, which is
Yeah, Sebastian was telling me about that show.
a series which I absolutely loved, and I feel like it. Maybe I wasn't like as involved in like film Twitter and like people's popular opinions on things when it came out, but I felt like it wasn't as appreciated, at least in my like friend group. No one was like,
At least on Twitter when I was there, everybody was talking about it. That's why I haven't watched it because it's
Really?
very hyped up. Yeah.
oh, okay. Well, that makes me happy. It also makes me happy that like a lot of the characters in that show were in this movie.
I think that was one of the fun facts. Is like 9 people.
Yeah.
It was like a lot of people.
Yeah, so my favorite guy was the barista in the coffee shop, who
Oh God, I don't remember.
I think Jonathan Groff, like it is in like early on.
Mm.
Jonathan Groff, whenever he like, I don't remember what happens to him, but his character, he's like, I'm everywhere, so he pieces out, and he was possessing a person, and it was the barista. I really like his character in that show. But it was cool to see all of them.
Oh, that must have been fun. I think Sebastian was also we were like when we were on the couch. He was like every time someone would pop up, he would be like that. They're from Sense8.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I trust you with that because I don't know.
Yeah.
Another thing I liked too is that whole the terrifying thing was what they call it, not the purge, swarm.
Oh.
If I understand that correctly, it's basically the people that took the blue pill, like all the people that took the blue pill in the Matrix, like they basically took them over and like used them to kill, like try to kill. That's fucking scary.
It is.
Like all the people that were just standing there, that was jarring.
Yeah.
I didn't like that at all.
Yeah.
I like that though. The action in this movie was like,
Yeah.
I think you said that in your.
That's what I put in my review, is like lackluster.
I don't think it was. I don't know if I mean, it's hard to not say that maybe that's not interesting for a Matrix movie though, because I feel like those have the most iconic action sequences like of all time. And so to not have anything that I can even remember in this one feels like it should be a critique, you know?
You might have missed. Did you get the the dojo scene?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but like.
Yeah, it wasn't like super.
That's also been
momentous.
done in those movies.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, there's nothing like. But maybe it's hard to redo that because, give them credit, everybody is redoing the Matrix now. You know, like all these fight sequences. Like, I feel like. I could be wrong, but I feel like the Matrix was like so, not pivotal. I guess pivotal, right? In doing like slow-mo action scenes.
Oh yeah.
You know, when he would do the back thing. Like it's hard to be like, I guess, harsh on this, but like if you're a Matrix movie, I expect at least one cool move, but I felt like there wasn't anything.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I felt like
maybe the motorcycle
was overdone was like him on the motorcycle, just like
that was a little too much.
Like using
because
the force or whatever.
I don't remember him doing that a lot. But maybe that's the point. Is now that they're together, he can do it all the time. But it felt really dumb when he was doing like.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
I did like there was one thing, and it's not as iconic, I guess. But whenever she turned with the motorcycle and she knocked a bunch of people over and then just got back up, that was fucking cool.
There's that, and like when he stops the bullets, he does that a couple times. Like
it's all the time though. It's like, or when he pushed like one of the missile things.
Oh, that one was cool because we'd only seen him like use bullets.
But
at least.
You know what? Maybe I want to say maybe it's because he's older, but he does John Wick, so it's hard to be like maybe that's why they didn't do a lot of like combat.
Well, no, like
Well, they did in the beginning.
maybe older in. I mean, when he fought Jonathan Groff, when he brought back all the people from the Purge, like the Frenchman,
Mm-hmm.
there was that kind of fight sequence, but not even old in like real life, but old in the Matrix, because it had been 60 years. So like at that point, his mind is maybe not as strong. Like he can't fly.
Yeah.
Can't do all those like fight sequences.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm just saying that's probably not. I don't want to classify it as something that makes me not like this movie. I'm just saying maybe that's something I expected, and I was kind of like let down a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely agree, because I mean I put it in my review. But it was just cool to be back in the Matrix. Like it felt. I mean, it must have been really cool for everyone who watched them when they first came out, because like I was a child and not even alive when the first one came out. But to see them all back to back.
Oh yeah. I watched it way too young. Because.
Oh yeah, actually, some of the sequence in the third one, when I forgot what his name was, but one of the generals or captains, he gets like sliced. He gets a slice from the Sentinels right there. And that was a pretty, not like super traumatic, but I remember thinking like, ooh.
I don't remember that, but I remember in the first one when he gets something in his belly button, they put something.
Oh yeah, they like
that
bug
scared
him.
the shit out of me. That like scarred me. And even now, when I've only seen The Matrix, like I've rewatched it a couple of times, but every time that comes up, I get really nervous because I'm like, oh shit, because it's so fucking scary. That's scary, and then, but it is from what I remember. God, I haven't seen it in so long, but from what I remember, it's a solid movie.
It truly
trilogy. There's a couple, or I only have one fun fact. There was a couple, but nothing that I was like really wanting to use. One of them, I saw an interview with Keanu Reeves where he said that he used to like they would do a scene, or no, Jonathan Groff said this, where he would do a scene with Keanu, like a serious scene, and then all of a sudden he would just start singing him songs from Hamilton. Like the songs that Jonathan Groff would sing, he would just start singing it to him, and he was like, "What's happening?"
That's hilarious.
Just, I guess, to like throw him off.
His game.
This one though, I thought you might like, is the man who plays Thomas Anderson's reflection, Stephen Roy, is Carrie Ann Moss's real husband, and the father of her children.
That's awesome. Good for him.
And I felt bad because I remember when they showed his reflection, I was like, oh, they think he's like some old man.
Right.
Old dirty man. It's her husband.
It was been fun at the premiere, like to see. I guess it was like, I don't know.
Oh, and there's some like moments. I think Mom said it too, with, at the beginning, when you don't know that he has a different.
You can see his reflection.
That they're like, they found out some way to change his, what do they call it, DSI? Change his like
digital self-image.
Yeah, which is interesting. Because when they said that, I was like, what the fuck? What does that even mean? And then they showed it, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I think
there's so many terms where I was like, I feel so dumb.
You
are dumb.
No, you need to watch the other ones, because I think they call it, or Morpheus calls it like residual self-image when they're in the construct.
Like, and that's why they like,
because he has like long hair in the Matrix, but outside of it, he obviously doesn't.
And so is that like how it's kind of like building your avatar? Like that's how you want to look?
That's how you see yourself. Like that's who your mind's like, that's me.
But they're saying in this one, they somehow got so sophisticated in this new Matrix. Like the analyst is so sophisticated now that he was able to change that and
not change, like that's
for everybody else.
For everyone else. So he thought that he was like, he looked normal.
So did she see the reflection, the old man?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Maybe they're not sophisticated. Maybe it's like they can't tamper with her mind.
Yeah, maybe. That's a good question, because I don't know if that was like, maybe
I don't know if it matters.
Yeah, I don't think it does, because I think he knew regardless.
But I think that's the whole thing, that at least in the review, that they're saying like they were still, even they did all this shit to try to hide them, and they did that pretty well, but then they couldn't, there's nothing that they could do to like keep them, to make them not be drawn to each other, which is really sweet.
I mean, that's like honestly one of the greatest love stories. Like this entire 4, or at least saga, I guess. Like one of my favorites because I really like it.
And wait, okay, I'm gonna sound so dumb. And then I don't remember how did I don't know what they're called, but like Bugs and all them. How did they find Neo in the first place?
How
does she see him whenever he was on the roof?
I don't know, because I think at that moment, like somehow that like DSI failed,
glitch in the Matrix,
and she was able to see like actually Neo, and then that like
she was awoken.
That freed her mind.
Interesting. What do you think they're trying to say about? What do you think this movie is trying to say about society?
Probably that we live in one.
Well, one thing I read that was interesting is like, because this is like a new Matrix, right? That that it's not only the Matrix that's keeping us, like the red pill, blue pill thing that was keeping them trapped, but it was the systems that it created. So like, the reason Trinity didn't want to go at first is because she had kids, and so like as a mom, if you have kids as a parent, or I guess in her case as a mom, like being a mom and what a mom is perceived as is what keeps you, or the idea of what a good mom is what keeps you from like your full potential.
Freeing your mind.
Like not actually,
so kids are the worst.
No, not actually having a kid, but if you think about like what people expect from a mother, like what society expects from a mother. You can't do anything. You only live for your kids. You know, it's like she can't even be her full self because of her dumbass kids. Just kidding. You know, she can't like be the person she's supposed to be because she thinks that she has responsibilities to fucking Chad.
Right. So we do live in a society.
Yeah, is what I'm saying.
I like the whole when they're like brainstorming the new Matrix.
Oh, and it's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same. And like they do not understand, like the industry just does not understand the purpose.
It also, from what I read in this one like explanation thing, is that it's a way of like the filmmakers making fun of themselves because they're like, I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I don't know what else I have to say, but I absolutely love it. Like,
it was a fun time. I liked it and I enjoyed it. Even being confused, I still had a really good time watching it. And even after falling asleep.
I think I'm gonna make this a tradition to watch all of them during the holiday season because it felt really nice to. Like, they're not necessarily a Christmas movie by any means, but I think the last time that I watched them was like before this past time was during the holiday season in 2020.
Oh, you know what would be cool is like maybe after Christmas but before New Year's, that weird like.
Oh week. Yeah, that is a weird.
That's a good time.
Like liminal space. And
that's a good time. Oh yeah, the in between, and it's also a good time to like think about how
your life is and how you live in a society.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you have to go. It's because like normally people don't work, or like work is very minimal. Mm-hmm. So you like leave the corporate America. Yeah. And then you reflect on your position in the ladder, in the corporate ladder. And then you go back, and then you're just like, I hate.
Yeah, and then rent is due on the 1st.
Rent is due on the 1st.
And you're like, well, where's that blue pill? I need it.
Rent is the blue pill.
Exactly. Ooh, maybe I should start that this year by watching it this week.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This will be on Monday. I was like, when do we put this out?
I mean, it's already after Christmas, so.
There you go.
Wow. What a good way to end. I'm happy with this movie, honestly.
Yeah, it feels like a palate cleanser after talking about Licorice Pizza for too long.
Yeah, because I hate not agreeing with people, like about...
Yeah, it makes me feel crazy.
Yeah, not only that, but I'm like scared to tell people. Like, part of me wants to just like cut everything that we talked about because, like, if someone on film Twitter, God forbid someone on film Twitter sees this, and then they're like, you're the worst. But like,
PTA fans are they're a little intense too. But honestly, like of all the movies I've seen of his, like, they're fine. I haven't seen a lot of them, but like
I've only seen Punch
Magnolia
Drunk
is
Love,
weird.
but I
Like
really
there's,
like it.
they're just not for me. I don't know. But yeah,
I just
I see what you mean though.
I
And there's two like Film Twitter loved Last Night in Soho too.
I know.
I don't know. Maybe we're not cut out for Film Twitter. Film Twitter's a matrix. We are. No
We're
Patrick
just
Harris. I don't know.
No, because like he
No,
controls it.
who
We don't
would we
control
be?
Film Twitter. We would be like, we'd be part of the swarm. We'd be a blue pillar
Oh, probably.
in the
But
grand
maybe
scheme.
watching, like, you know how her moment was seeing Neo about to jump? Like, our moment was like.
Edgar
after-
Wright, so, like making the contract.
No, I was gonna say like, after the movie ended and we all like looked at each other and we were like, that was bad. Like nobody wanted to say anything. We were like, that was okay. And we walked. No, we said like, oh, that's fine. We walked out. We sat in the car and we were like, it was not good. And then we were like, oh, and like all
Yeah,
these lights are going
it
and
freed our
everything's
mind.
yeah.
I like that idea that these bad movies that we didn't necessarily like were the things that red pilled us.
Probably because if I would have watched this before, you know, when I wanted to get into movies and I thought, you know, any indie is a movie that I should like, or any movie by this person is a movie I should love. If I would have watched this like during that time, like maybe like 5 years ago, I probably would have liked it because everybody else liked it.
That's really interesting, because
But now that I'm like comfortable saying no, I didn't like it.
wow, that is like really interesting and really funny. I like that.
I truly think too is because we're watching so many things.
I've watched a shit ton of movies. So if you like Licorice Pizza,
Don't tell us.
Livia is saying that you still live in the Matrix and your mind is.
Well, maybe that's the red pill moment for them, that they hear people like us being like, we hated it, and they're like, I still loved it.
It's the exact opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we all live in a society.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'll tell you off pod because it's like, what if the real world in the Matrix is still another Matrix, and it's like some other thing,
Wait,
just
what?
never ends. It doesn't matter. Let's end this episode.
Well, are you saying like, what if, you know, when the bald people, or like they're all bald, right?
Yeah, essentially.
So like, are you saying what if that's also a Matrix?
Yeah.
Who's to say?
Exactly.
Because they don't know they're in the Matrix until they get
Exactly.
woken.
I guess like the other Matrix is the fact that they're in a movie. It's not real.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, let's cut it.
You're gonna break my brain.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for listening to episode 107. If you don't like Licorice Pizza, I still want you to
Sorry.
listen to it, and I'm very listen to our podcast.
Yeah, we can all have different opinions. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Thanks for
Alright.
listening. We'll see you guys next week on Monday.
Bye.
Bye.